the front door. Ask me if I stress overcome, what for? Train in the trees, please pardon my sycamore. Touch burning sands, cross lands, and stormy shores.
KRVSR Productions. Hi, I'm Kenny. Welcome back. Today, we're going to address a few issues that me and my producer have been talking about. It's some of the questions that I'm getting also on the comments. But I want to know out there in the social media world, in the podcast world, what do you think? How do you feel about some of the podcasts that I've been putting out on racial tension? Do you care? If you don't care, there's a big concern there because of the fact that we live in this country together. And the fact is that you cannot sit in your little bubble and expect that different races aren't going to intertwine with you. So my question to you is, do you care about what's going on with other races in this country, other than yours? Do you care about other people, period? Or do you just care about what's in your house? That's a very ignorant way to think if that's what you're doing. Because if we all sat down and only worry about ourselves, I can tell you this, that is part of the problem of what we're having in the U.S. today and around the world. I think constantly about what's going on around the world. I see and I watch stuff and I observe. For example, the information that I've been putting out to you about like racial tension in the United States. Do you know it's a fact that most of the crimes committed far as like murder or stuff like that happens to people, most of the time it happens by someone that you know or someone that you love. So if you're thinking that, oh, it's this race that's doing this and this race doing that. Now, I'm not talking about the extremists that do the extreme damage of murder or whatever. I'm talking about just individually. Because a lot of people are naive and they just think that, for example, that blacks do a lot of the crimes in the United States. It's not true. It can't be that 17% of one race is doing all the crimes in this country. It can't be that 17% of a race is doing all the murdering in this country. It can't be that 17% of a race is constantly thinking, criminal-minded stuff. You can't say that just blacks are crackheads. You just can't say that blacks are heroin addicts. You can't say that blacks are methamphetamine addicts. You can't just say that blacks are the only marijuana smokers or alcoholics. Because for one, we don't have the power to bring that stuff in. Think about it. Because that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to figure out who out there is actually thinking that one race is doing all this and another race isn't doing basically nothing. They're just being, they're just being subjected to the criminal act of it. Those of you that know what I'm talking about, that have children or family members, husbands, wives, or whatever, that are out there committing crimes, that are out there doing drugs, that are out there just living their life carefree. And whatever happens, happens. You know what I'm talking about. But for the other ones that sit home and they sit in their little perfect house with their perfect car and their perfect lifestyles and think that, it's got to be the blacks or it got to be the Spanish. You're crazy. You're really insane. I'm pausing only because of the fact that I'm trying to figure out where to go to stress this point to you without seeming, biased. My saying all the time is I've been around the world. I've been around the world twice, shook his hand once. I've seen a lot of stuff. I've seen a lot of abuse, of violence, addicted people, criminal-minded people, and guess what? They all wasn't one race. So I say to you, do you really feel that one race is the mastermind of all this criminal act? If it's only 17%, that 17% that race, which is the black race, is the ones that being subjected to the jails and institutions because law is not even, justice is not equal for them. They say that justice is blind. It is not blind. It knows exactly what it's doing. If we can't have them on the plantations, we'll put them in the penitentiaries. So I say to you, is it really the way that it seems? How is it that a man is running away from a police officer and gets shot 5 times in the back? Never heard of that on the news with a white guy. Indian, Romanian, never heard of it. But you know what someone has said to me when I asked them about that? They say, what was the black guy doing to make that cop shoot him? He was running away. So if he was running away, he probably was doing something wrong, or maybe he was just scared. Like a lot of blacks are. They're just afraid of the cops, because the cops are not, I can't say all police officers, because I'd be 100% wrong, but a lot of them are, they want to get some give back. They want to get that feeling. I heard that most police officers do the double shot thing. So what happens when they shoot him 5 times? Oh, he got carried away. There are families out there that are losing their children, their husbands, their wives over other people's races, views, and ideals. Of scared policemen, scared congresspeople that want to keep these theories out there on a race. Now, I feel for any race that is going through any kind of abuse, but I just have to look at it as it really is. It's really one race in this country that is still being subjected to an onslaught of degradation. Once again, they say look to the southern border, but I think it's a flim-flam. It's to keep your eyes there so that on the northern border, they can sneak in all those people all the people coming in from that side. Because I'll tell you about the invisible Chinese people, Asians, that are coming in by the boatloads. Oh, but they're not criminals. They're not a gang. They say a gang of people is more than 2. That's the definition of a gang. Or 2 or more. I'm sorry, 2 or more. You're going to put a stereotype on a bunch of people coming across the border because of what's happening to them in their country. I know I talked about this before, but it's crazy. We know that people are coming through the northern part of the border. We know that they're crossing the Peace Bridge and down and over by Niagara by the boatloads also. I walk up to some people talking to them, they barely know a word of English. And I know they're from the Ukraine or from Libya or somewhere. Asia, somewhere. And like I always say, be careful what you ask for. Because sometimes walls are built not to stop people from coming in, but to stop people from going out. There's a movement going on in this country right now. A lot of people are blind to it. We haven't had situations as serious, this racial thing, in this country in a lot of years. I mean, that's actually been presidential. Well, even we think that the president himself is a racist person. I don't know. I'm just one guy talking. But see, I got my third eye on the whole situation. I can't stop it. I just deal with it as it comes. It's a sad, sad picture. And in the end, a lot of us are going to cry about what's happening in front of us. But that's only because you actually got flim-flammed. So I say to you, please do yourself a favor. Stop being so ignorant. And open your hearts and your eyes. Don't let the flim-flam get you. Look left and look right. My name is Kenny. This is KRVSR Productions. We will talk about this again. Keep your eyes open. I'm out.